that what Jesus meant when he was talking to Peter? He said, do you love me? And he said, yes. And he said it again and again. And then Peter got all frustrated and was just like, yes, Lord, I love you, And then he said, well, feed my sheep.
Yes and no.
Okay.
In order to really understand the transaction of that dialogue,
mm-hmm.
you have to know that Jesus was using one word in the Greek, agape or agape,
mm-hmm.
and Peter's response was phileo. So we're talking about two different types of love.
Oh yeah, brotherly and unconditional. I remember we talked about unconditional.
And so the back and forth. But more to the point is, so they're having this conversation. Now we go to the book of Acts, chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
And who gives the sermon? Feed my sheep.
Yep.
Peter says, repent every one of you for the remission of your sins, and 3,000 people get saved.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's feeding the sheep, but guess what? Go all the way back to the beginning of the ministry. Jesus says, follow me, and I'll make you fishers of men.
Yep.
There's a fulfillment. That whole catching in the net,
mm-hmm.
that's what he did in Pentecost, right after Pentecost.
Wow, that's good. Yeah. So, like, you would say Peter's faith was becoming more solidified because he trusted Christ on the fishing perspective. Because remember, Peter couldn't catch nothing. He was explaining to Jesus, he's like, yo, I can't, there's nothing here.
Right.
And then Jesus like, throw your net to the other side. And Peter was still going back and forth. And Jesus like, come on, man. What did I just tell you? Just do it. And Peter did it. And once he saw all them fish, is that when his mind was just like, oh my gosh?
Not sure, but interesting point. So Peter starts his ministry with fishing. He gets one net.
Yep.
Net breaks.
Right.
Got all these fish. Got to call his partners. Right. The end of Jesus' ministry, the resurrection, Jesus comes back. He's on the shore, and he says to the men, including Peter, "Throw your net on the other side." Same deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Peter looks up and says, "Oh, that's Jesus." Dives into the water.
Right. Yeah.
Y'all rode too slow. I get to Jesus. And they have, and by the way, there's a symbolic understanding that they have so many fish, 153 fish. There's a number. I don't know what that number means necessarily, but the net doesn't break.
Right.
And I believe that the ministry, again, I just factor everything through this whole eternal salvation, that the catching of the fish represents people who are in the body, and it won't break. We won't lose any. If you will.
I like that. That's good. That's good.
But in that moment, Peter recognizes that this is Jesus, the resurrected Jesus, and have a conversation. But interesting, the same issue that follows Peter follows him through his whole ministry until he's crucified. Right?
Wow.
And that is this. Jesus makes a comment about John, and Peter says, I can't remember the exact dialogue, but it's at the end of book of John. And so Peter says, hey, Jesus, why are you talking to him like that? And he said, mind your business. What I'm doing with him is for him, and what I'm going to do with you is for you.
Right.
Like, slow up, I got you. Well, if you go now into the book of Acts, Peter is still struggling with certain things about how he looks in the public eye.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to, the Judaizers around are trying to put the Gentiles under the law and trying to get some of the believers back under the law. And Paul comes and says, whoa, face-to-face confrontation. Like, why are you doing that?
Wow.
Yeah. Still struggling with how he looks. Still saved.
Yeah.
Still Peter. Still the rock. Okay. But
he just didn't understand, how should I say it, spiritual freedom.
I would say it this way: Peter had some personality quirks, defects.
Okay, from the Jewish.
Well, from his
aspect.
From his human personality, because you can be stubborn and self-centered, and you could be black. have to be Jewish.
Right. But he's just an example of who we are as believers.
Yeah.
And I think, and honestly, I think besides Judas, of course, I believe all the disciples can, like, you know, relate to one of us or someone else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and to be honest, between you and I can't even tell you right now who all 11 disciples are. I know about like 6 or 7. I mean, I guess that really doesn't matter, but it kind of does.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But because even in Acts, it doesn't break down each disciple, their life, and you know, it talks about how they encountered Christ, but they don't talk about who they were before Christ, who they were after. They really only like focus on, like you said, Peter, John. I mean, shoot, think about it. Paul, he was an apostle, but he really wasn't a disciple. He was just a follower of Christ after the fact, but he never was in the 12.
Yeah, but the by definition, an apostle is someone who walked with the physical Christ. Right?
I see. Okay.
That was the criteria. And so Paul, for a long time, wasn't accepted. That's why when you read his writings, most of them, not all of them, he'll say, I, Paul, an apostle, called by God.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's why, like I said, a lot of people just look to Paul, you know, in the New Testament, because, I mean, he wrote like, what, 3/4 of it.
I don't know, 13 letters or books. Yeah.
Well, there's 26 in the
27.
New Testament. 27.
27.
I thought it was 26.
39 plus 27 is 66. Oops. Trust me on this one.
We're going to edit that out. So I'm just playing. No, that's going, because like I said, I want to be transparent. I want to be real.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to sugarcoat or hide nothing. Like, to be honest, I feel like this is a live session. Obviously, it's not. But as I begin to do this podcast more and more, I just feel more like comfortable and just like relaxed. You know what I mean? Because when I don't know if you saw the first episode
I did.
with me and Mike, and I was like,
Yeah.
right. And I had my notepad right here, and I'm just like, okay, so Mike, we're just going to start here. And tell me about yourself. Like, I'm supposed to look at him. I'm like, tell me about yourself. Like,
That's why I just, candid is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And growing up, a lot of people don't know this, but I wanted to be actually like a journalist or an interviewer, kind of something like this. But when I found out, like, to be a journalist, you have to like do a lot of like typing and all that other stuff. And
not anymore.
well, true. That's a good point. But I always wanted to like just get to know people. I like to talk. You already know that. But I just like to learn. Love to listen and grow with people, like building bonds and relationships. And I think that's what it's like to get to know Christ as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And being that, you know, you're my pastor. Well, not just because you're my pastor, but I will tell you this, and we've talked about this in Bible study in the class about prayer and praying and how that's supposed to be like breathing. Prayer is so essential to your relationship with Christ, because how else do you communicate with him?
Yeah, and again, just for clarity, because once it's recorded, it's forever. Can be.
Right.
When I say prayers have to be brief, I'm not saying that your prayer time has to be brief. What I'm saying is the God who already knows the moment has already answered the prayer you're about to ask.
Right.
So get to the point. You don't have to say, "Oh, wise and magnificent God of the universe, if you need a pair of shoes, Lord, I need a pair of shoes." Get to the point, right? What I would say about the rest of the prayer time is the fellowship, the communion of prayer, which I think should be as long as you can tolerate it. Yeah. Where we're not, I'm asking and you're responding and all that. It's just being enveloped in the in the presence of God and just being lost in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that for hours, and I mean that when I say tolerate. At a certain point, it's so emotional. I'm overwhelmed. I physically, I can't take it anymore. I'm tired.
Right.
Physically tired, drained.
Wow.
And so, God, we got to stop.
And I remember you said too that sometimes you just don't gotta say anything. Just be in His presence. Just create that atmosphere, and just know Him and listen. Listen. Stop talking. Just listen.
There's a couple things about that. If you are, for folks who are in the military, they'll get this, or any kind of paramilitary organization. If God is king, like the president, or like the general, 4-star, 5-star general, when you come, if you are a frontline soldier or anyone underneath that authority, you don't enter a room and start talking. You enter the room and you wait for instructions. Yeah. So we understand that in terms of that order.
Yeah.
So sometimes God, who is my Father, sometimes is also my King. And there is a time when He's talking, I should be silent and listening.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
He's
good.
still my dad.
Right.
But He's also the judge of the universe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. And so just recognizing in that moment who is running the show. Yeah.
Man, that's good.